Hey y'all, this is Matt with Deep South RC, and I heard y'all might like some mini scale trucks and crawlers. They say it's the new fad, and I would agree. Once I got a couple of these things, it just doesn't seem like I could stop. Look at all these things here. So, starting from the left, we have the RGT Defender. It's a 1/24th scale. The yellow truck that's next to it is an RGT Adventurer. It's basically the same chassis, different body. Next to that, you have the Hobby Plus CR24 Defender, 1/24th scale. Then next after that, you have the FMS FCX24 Power Wagon. That one has had a couple of modifications. I'll show you guys those. Next to that, you have the FMS FCX24 Masher. So it's the same, design as the FCX24 Crawler. It is just a monster truck version. I actually have two of those, so I'll show you both. The red Jeep, or it's technically not a Jeep. So this is the Rock Hobby Firehorse, 1/18th scale. Beside it is a Furitech FX 118. I might have to double check that and put it in the comments or a subtitle if it's wrong, but I believe it's the FX 118. It is a brushless. It is the only brushless out of the whole group. Next to that, you have the Chevy K10, which is an FMS FCX 18. And then next to that, you have a Traxxas TRX M4, and it is the high lift version. So, with all of these, we're going to take a closer look at each one, talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses, and I'll give you a little info about how they perform. And then I'm also going to get some video to put at the end of this so you guys can see these things running. We also do have this. We have this rock. So we're going to do some tests with the rock. This is one that I pulled out from the crawler course. The unfinished crawler course, I should say. It's just basically a pile of rocks at the moment. So I just grabbed one. I may go grab another and make a little course here on the table and show you guys how these perform. So up first, the RGT Defender, 1/24th scale. Oops. Here you guys can see what it looks like. You got a motor up front. You got a vertically mounted steering servo. You have a ESC RX combo here. And these run off of a 3.7 volt 1-cell LiPo. So here's the LiPo that came with the Hobby Plus, which is this one here. But these are basically all the same. There's a 3.7 volt, around 600 milliamp hours. The controller that comes with these, you can see I have it labeled here. It's just your standard. It's a 3-channel. It does have a foam wheel here instead of plastic. It runs on 4 AAA batteries, and then you have all your normal steering and throttle trims and the dual rates. Before we start with the crawling test, the tires here, they look like a Super Swamper. They are foamless, which with these light vehicles you really don't need foams. The shocks are also just spring shocks. There's no oil in the shocks here. So it can get kind of bouncy, but for these small rigs, again, it's not a big deal. Everything is pretty much plastic. You got a 4-link suspension, plastic drive shaft, plastic axles, all of that good stuff. This motor is a 050 crawler spec. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to get the battery in like I said, and then we'll see how she does on this rock. Alright, let's see how the RGT Defender handles this little rock here. I'm gonna try not to get my shadow in it. And I have not done any practice runs, so this is we're kinda gonna just see how it happens here. Oh, oh, come on, oh, oh, oh! Oh, my. Oh, oh, oh! So, you can see, you can't quite make it over the rock here. Which is to be expected. This is a pretty steep obstacle for this tiny little truck here. These RGTs do have proportional steering. So if you want to... So pretty neat. It's a pretty neat little rig. Like I say, mainly meant for inside. You can kind of see how bouncy it is here. Let's see what the low speed looks like, how slow we can go. Oh. So, decent low speed modulation. So next up, we're going to look at the Adventurer, which we're not going to spend a ton of time on the Adventurer because once you remove the body, you can see other than lower body post, it is the same chassis as the Defender. I will say this one does seem to perform a little bit better just because of the body and its lower center of gravity. It's not so top heavy. So it also is the only one of the 24th scale that did not come with a spare tire. So keep that in mind too. The other, if you look at the Defender body here, comes with a spare tire. If you look at this Defender, spare tire here. Even the FMS, you have a spare tire on the back. So here we have the CR24 from Hobby Plus. I did recently break this one. One of the drive shafts here, they are plastic, like I said, just like on the other RGT models. I like this little body. It's got a little spare tire on the back. So when you take the body off, it is a similar design to the RGTs. You have a combined receiver and speed control. You got your battery tray. The motor on this one is a bit smaller. You can see it here, and it's set down into the chassis closer to the ground, so it's got a lower center of gravity. I do like that one. This is the one that I bought actually for myself to drive. The other two were for my wife and son. Then we share them all, but this is the one that I prefer to drive even with the smaller motor. So I would show you guys this one running, but like I said, right now it only has two-wheel drive because we snapped this one on the mini crawler course. But basically everything is the same. 1-inch rims or wheels, and then you have foamless tires. Won't know what exact pattern these would be. Everything else is plastic, 4-link suspension, all of that good stuff. No oil shocks. So basically the same, just a little bit different layout. Up next we have the FMS FCX24. This is the Power Wagon. I have done some upgrades to this one. This is one of my favorites, to be honest with you. I've got Endura wheels, steel wheels with brass rings, as well as some Endura. I forget what the exact tread pattern is on this, but I will look that up and put it in the description. And you can see I also have the Endura high clearance links here. So this did come with plastic links. You still have plastic drive shafts, plastic axles. These are portal axles, and they are metal gears in the portal axles. I can't remember if the transmission in this has metal gears. I know the Smasher here, I did I have one that's behind it there that I did replace the transmission gears with metal gears. I can't remember if these just regular FCX 24s have the metal gears in the transmission. I did also put some Endure shocks here, these little red shocks. I thought that went well with the wheel color. So let me get the body off of this thing and I'll show you what the inside of it looks like. Okay, so I do have, this does have lights. So these are connected here to the speed control and receiver. This is also a combo, just like the other systems. It does have the 130 motor, a vertical mounted servo here for the 2-speed transmission. That is a major difference between these smaller versions, and you can see how much size difference we have here. But yeah, you have a larger battery. This comes with a 380 milliamp hour 7.4 volt, so a 2-cell versus the 1-cell and the smaller ones. That is a noticeable difference, because the small ones will, if you get in a bind, you know, it's going to bog down, it's going to cog up, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to get in a bind and it's not going to have enough power to turn the wheels. With the 2-cell and these small vehicles, plenty of power. 2-cell is plenty for these. I have not broken anything on any of them except the one I just showed you. But I'm going to put a battery in this one, turn it on, I'll show you the remote, and then we will see how it does on the rock. Alright, so we got a battery in her. I'll get the rock moved over in a minute, but the controller that comes with these, at least the early version that I got, is much nicer than the cheaper RGT24 and the CR24. This one is much nicer. It's a 4-channel. As you can see, it's got some dip switches here on it. These are for like drag brake, a few different settings, instant forward, reverse, that kind of thing. So super nice to have. It also has all the normal trims, steering and throttle reverse, and the dual rates. So it doesn't come with a foam wheel, but I can make an exception for the nicer electronics inside. Alright, with the FCX24, it does have a 2-speed, like I was saying. This is the slow speed and the crawler speed. And then if we put it in high speed, if you put it in high speed, you can crash it just like that. But much faster. So if you're walking behind it on the trail, that's nice to have some extra speed so that you can walk at a normal pace. Alright, so we're going to see how the FCX does on the rock here. A little bit, but it does much better than the other 24 scale. Alright guys, so on that last crawl, we actually just broke the FCX24. You can see the axle here. I must have torqued it a little too hard once it was in a bind. That's what I was saying with, it does have plenty of power. Maybe too much power with the 2-cell LiPo. No, it's not too much power. You can never have too much power. We just have to upgrade to better parts. But if you have small children, it may be better to go with one of these smaller, cheaper versions, just because they generally don't have enough power to break axles or anything like that. Alright, so here we have the FCX24 Smasher So it's basically just a monster truck version of what you just saw with the rig here. The Power Wagon. It just has bigger tires here. It still has a 2-speed. It's not super fast. And so I do have one of these that I'm working on, and I'll show you guys that one. But yeah, these things are pretty cool. I was thinking about turning this one into a crawler, or a mud truck maybe, because like I said, they're not super fast. So for a monster truck, you know, you wanna be able to do donuts and stuff. I'm probably not gonna show off much running video this one either, just because it's hard to run here in this confined area. But I will make some videos of it running in stock form, and then I'll show you guys this one here. But it does look pretty sweet. I like this body. One thing I'll show you, that's the TRX4M High Trail. So quite a bit different, quite a bit bigger than the FCX body, but both still look really good. Alright, so this is the Project FCX Smasher. It's the blue body, and I have put a few stickers on it in here that came with it. But if you can see here, it has a Furatech brushless. It's a mini Godzilla. What is the KV? 7500 KV. It also has a Lizard Pro Monster ESC, and then also the Furatech receiver here. I haven't got it all mounted up, so I've still been working on it. I did test it just to make sure it was running, but once I get this mounted up, I'm going to do a comparison between the stock version, which is the white one here, and this version, which is the brushless. So there's probably, you know, it's probably not going to be a much of a comparison between brushless and brushed, but we will check it out.